Howdy folks, my name is Teri, and today we are going to be talking about painting ethnic flesh tones on miniatures. It's something I've been working on for at least a year. If you follow me on any of my social media channels, particularly on Instagram because I post a lot of pictures of the miniatures I'm working on, you'll find various photos of me painting and featuring diversity in the humans that I'm painting up. It's been a personal mission for me to figure out how I can do this, but also figure out how I can do it in a way that looks great on the tabletop, but is actually like really easy, because I think if we haven't established this by now, I'm a really lazy painter. Done is my favorite color, and ultimately I want to get miniatures done so I can start playing with them. And so if I could figure out a way to paint ethnic flesh tones in a way that wasn't super hard, I really want to do that. So I wanted to talk to you about my Holy Grail product for painting darker skin tones today. And this is the Adrian flesh tone. Now this is like a brand new pot. I wanted to show you what it looks like when you're not destroying it, because I actually use a second pot of this stuff constantly. This one's actually almost empty, which is why I have a new one. And it's like totally destroyed because I use it so much. Adrian flesh is a really interesting color. It is a neutral flesh tone, and it is not too dark that it doesn't take washing well, but it's not too light that it looks like it's Caucasian flesh. And so as a base, or as kind of the starting point for ethnic skin tones, if you're looking or interested in trying out painting darker skin tones, this is the product I would highly suggest you just pick up and try. For a lot of the miniatures that I do, if I just want to get them done, I'll put a base coat of like an ivory color on the underneath, and I'll paint thin washes of this on top and build up the color, because it settles into the cracks and it also picks up the highlights. I love this paint, and I think that it's a great color for so many applications, including a lot of different ethnicities. And the way I achieve the different undertones and the different hues is by mixing paints with it and using different washes. Now, I wanted to talk to you about the three kind of big different washes that I use for Adrian to get the different hues. So the first one I want to talk about is brown ink. It's not actually a wash, it's the ink from P3. It's much more pigmented. It actually has like almost a shiny, like a glossy finish when you put it on. And so when I paint the Adrian flesh on, I'll put a layer of brown ink on top, and I'll move it around so it doesn't puddle. But what it does is it makes the color much richer, and it has a really red undertone. And in doing that, it really darkens the color up. This is one of those products that will darken Adrian flesh into those deeper skin tones. And because it has that shiny finish, it actually mimics the skin kind of shininess of really beautifully lit dark skin tones. You'll see, I'll link a video on like Hollywood and how they light and actually like highlight and do makeup for a cast of black characters. And one of the things they do is they reflect light, and because it has that shiny finish, it reflects light in a very similar way. And so you don't have to do a lot. I'll put Adrian flesh on a model, I'll put a layer or two of brown ink on top of it, and I get a pretty great looking dark, rich skin tone. And so again, super lazy shortcut, but it'll get you there. It'll get you to a tabletop quality dark-skinned miniature. The second one I wanted to talk about is Cossack Flesh Wash. This was launched, these two flesh washes actually were launched by Privateer Press at Origins. I know they sold them at like conventions over the course of the year. I've seen some of them at retail stores. My local gaming store doesn't have it, but it might be a distribution issue, so you check your local gaming store as well. But Cossack Flesh Wash has this really kind of brownish tone to it. It's slightly red, but it's not as heavy as brown ink. And so in painting it on the Adrian flesh, what's interesting is it doesn't change the tone of the flesh color. It's actually, if you do it in a thin layer, it's virtually transparent. The pigmentation of Adrian flesh is dark enough that it doesn't change all too much. But when it settles in the cracks and crevices, it does have this like brownish tone to it. And those shadows still show up on top of Adrian flesh. So it's great for a lot of the warmer skin tones you're looking for in painting that on. And once you do the wash on top, you can always go again and highlight with Adrian Flesh. And that's why I like the fact that it doesn't change the tone of it too much, is because you wash it down, you get the shades in, and then you can re-highlight up with the base color. And so, again, really lazy, shortcut, ethnic skin, but super accessible and something you can absolutely do. Finally, Caspian Flesh Wash, same kind of thing, but it has a much more yellow tone to it. And again, if you're looking for something that's much more golden colored, it has an olive skin tone, you can also put it on top of like lighter Caucasian flesh tones, and get that really great olive tone to it. This is a great flesh wash for that. Again, play with these products, but I found that with Adrian Flesh as a base, I feel much more comfortable and confident in using it because it looks great virtually as soon as you put it on the model. It looks like flesh toned that has pigment to it. The other thing I wanted to mention is the Adrian Flesh tone mixes really well with the other paints to create other flesh tones. So in the past, I've done a few things. Now, if I want a pinker tone, I'll take Cardiac Flesh and mix it a little bit in. I'll also use this tone as a bit of a cheek, kind of a highlight blush on female models. So if I mix these two together, I can actually get like a highlighted blush look on these miniatures. It looks a little bit pink, but it's not... It doesn't look like they're wearing drag queen makeup, I guess is the best way I can describe it, with a highlight on there. And so it's a great mix for that. The other color I'll mix it with if I want something darker and cooler, because the color isn't really as well replicated with the brown ink, is Umber, which has this really dark, cool tone to it. So by mixing a little bit in, again, you can use that mix to create that base tone you want, and then highlight up moving into Adrian Flesh, and then beyond with like an ivory, keeping the highlights, again, very stark. One of the things that I've found really useful in painting ethnic skin tone is looking at reference photos, and I'll put a link down below to reference photos that I've used in the past on painting forums to kind of get a feel for the different colors and tones of darker skin out there. Finally, I wanted to talk a little bit about mixing in this yellow tones, rucksack tan. It tends to be a lot more overwhelming. When I'm wanting something a little more yellow, I'll put a lot more of the Adrian Flesh and the beige tone, like this ivory tone in, because the rucksack yellow goes yellow, like Muppet yellow, really quickly. So work it in slowly is kind of the big thing I want to mention. But it works to bring that golden tone out of skin. Yeah, so that's basically it. This is my holy grail product. I love Adrian Flesh so much. It's not complicated. It's really easy to use. And it's like my shortcut to painting ethnic skin tones. And I really wanted to share it with you today. All right, so that's kind of like the first product I've really wanted to share with you. I think I'm going to do a few more of these videos over the course of December where I talk about my favorite things. If Oprah can have favorite things, why the hell can't I, right? So I'll be doing that really over the next few weeks. You'll be seeing those videos pop up. So make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I want to thank my patrons on Patreon for supporting me and helping me make videos like these. It really does help me carve out the time and justify like the hours of editing to make this stuff happen. So thank you for those of you who are my backers. They're going to be getting Christmas cards this year, so if you want to get in on that action, every one of my patrons is getting something from me as a thank you for supporting me. So yeah, if you want to help out, go on to my Patreon page and it's just linked right there. Finally, please share with me the tips you have for painting ethnic skin tones. If you have shortcuts that would help lazy painters like me get them done, let me know. If there's questions, let me know. And yeah, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you soon.